Today, I was reading, following Jill questions about Thomas Mann's book. I was reading from the book, and I opened it like randomly in one of the passages, when Joseph says that he learns from the minister of jail. He spent many, yes, yes, that's correct. Yes, because the name, in a way, it's very good what you say, Janis, that name changes or name change happens. Yes. So often in the Bible, because if there's a name, there's like, so to speak, there's an object, there's a person. But once there is a change. So it's not, name is not a statue. Name is not a statue. Just good to see you here, Abigail. Just to give us an example, there is, let's say, yes, there's a child, Shabbat Shalom, Abigail, there's a child who's going to school, first, second grade. He thinks, like all children thinks, my mom, my dad. And this is how he sees them, as his mom and his dad. But after they escort him to school, the mom proceeds driving the car to her office. She attends the office, says hello to everyone, sits at her desk, making few phone calls or sessions. And at the moment she's calling to someone or she's speaking to someone, is she his mom? Good morning, Fernando. Is she the child mom? Meaning, once she has this conversation, regardless now of what is the topic or whom does she speak to, Shabbat Shalom, is she his mom? When she pays the bill, is she still the child's mom? When she has business meetings in her office, is she his mom? Because once there's a business meeting in the office, she relates to what is happening in the office as business. She does not think at the moment, I'm this child's mother, and as a mother, I handle this business, or even it doesn't cross her. Because all of us are basically like software. And I would like to more. The body, the human body, is a hardware. What does it mean? You look at human, you see hands and arms and feet. Sometimes you go to a museum, you see sculptures of humans in stone, in a marble. Plastic image, so to speak. This is the hardware. What the eyes, as an organ, are capable of seeing is the hardware. This is a human now, walking, riding a bicycle. This is the hardware. But what goes through us, through all of us, is the software. Is it understood before we continue to this example of mom in the office? Yes. So, 2 moments, Fernando, before you arrived, we were just giving an example of a child going to school, first or second grade. His parents are bringing him to school. Yes? Yes, Fernando, we're getting closer. Yes. So this child goes to school, the parents are bringing him to school. He says, hello, mom, dad, see you soon, afternoon, whatever. He goes to school, think in his mind, maybe I wave hello to mom and dad, and he continues to class. Meanwhile, the parents or the mother or one of them or both of them are arriving the office, and in the office say good morning, ta-ta-ta-ta, and like business meeting or phone calls or conference calls. So at the moment of the conference or business meeting in the office, the mom or the dad or both of them, they don't think of themselves as mom, as dad, as Sophie, as Alexander. They're just being in the moment in what is happening. If someone's sick, maybe they ask to see how he or she is doing. If there's like new, how do you say, instruction from the government, new law, new taxation, they attend what there is, being in the moment. So the child, or our eyes, let's go to through this child perspective. He thinks 6, 7, 8. This is mom and dad. This is how mommy looks. This is how dad looks. And this is my mom. Yes. And this is my, again, this is my mom. This is my dad, mine. So there is a problem, because if the child think like this, and all of us, yes, think like this is my mom, and there are other brothers and sisters after him, before him. So if this is his, and there's another child or third, he has to share this my with others, because also the rest of the children think about her as my mom. So like mom is a stock, like mom is like a, how do you say, a stock, and this is the first child, this is his mom or my mom, the second child, my mom, or the third. So everybody has a mother, and this is my mother. The problem starts because this is my mother. And if there are other children in the family and they also relate to her as my mother, not to mention only mother, this is my property. Yes, so they relate the mother to the mother as an object. This is my bag, this is my table, this is my mother. Yes, but mother is not an object. They might recognize her in the way she looks or walks, but what runs through a human being is a software. The speech, the sentiments, everything just comes, yes, from the infinite. And what we do is, or the brain does, is trying to anchor everything and to say, this is my friend, this is my mom, this is my dad, this is my house, this is my job, while everything is moving all the time. So the moment, let's say, the mother has a meeting in the office and whatever happens in the office is happening. So she is relating, not just she, all of us relate, or being present in the moment, whatever happens. And in the moment of the happening, what happens, happens, regardless of what we think as a mother, as a daughter, as an officer, as a policeman, as a detective, as a nurse, as a doctor. It doesn't matter what are the titles of how we title people, or how they title themselves, or how the system titles them. What happens, happens. There's like movement of water in the river. Software is moving. Happening is happening, regardless, yes, of how we tag people, how we call people, how we name people. What happens, and let's go back to this child example. Now he's 6, 7, 8. He thinks in those dimensions, my mom, my dad, while everything is happening all the time in the child, in the parent, so to speak. But he grows, now he's 12, he's 13, he's 14, he still thinks this is my mom, this is my dad, as fixed statues, while everything, the software is always running, is always moving. And the most of friction comes from those relations, because everybody captures the other as a statue. or as a frame or as a tag. Nobody allows, or even, this is how the brain, not it doesn't come with bad intention. This is how it is. We tend to think of this as the uncle, as the aunt, as whatever, the neighbor. And this is like how we tag them. We put them in a frame, we put them in a brick, we put them in a closed room. This is how we tag them. But it is regardless of what is happening. And things are happening all the time. And sometimes people are refusing to let go to this idea of my mom or my dad or my neighbor or the nurse or the doctor or whoever he is, because the tendency is to anchor, to frame them, to put them in the concrete and to say this is what it is, but it ain't. Look at the PC. There is a hardware. Now there is a PC, it has few inches, yes, and so on, it has a name. But what runs through this little netbook is a software, it's changing all the time. Depends on what we do, what we type, what we click or searching for. It's not a statue. But somehow, what happens to the brain, it's a machine, it just anchors things, puts frame around them, and seduces us to think that if we frame enough, we shall have a control of what is happening, or we know what is happening, but it's not so. And this brings me to this beautiful paragraph that I read this morning in Thomas Mann's book, that Joseph shares that in the many years that he spent in the jail, he spent them. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. I heard that in the Sorbonne, yes, in the it's a university in France. The students were learning for medicine, and there's a lot of matter to process, a lot of material, many books, terms, languages to remember. And they used to take pills at night to keep themselves awake and to learn twicer and like faster. And so, yes, illusion. What can we say? So Joseph spent many years in jail in Egypt. And he says that what he learned from the minister of jail, in Hebrew, in the translation, the minister of jail is called Chashvar. He learned from him peace and not to get into panic, because this is what the brain always goes into, mode of panic. Where are the keys? Where is the telephone? Yes, probably I forgot the telephone, I forgot my keys, I cannot find my car. This is how it goes, very fast. So Joseph says that in the many years of jail, he learned from the minister of jail what peace is and how not to get in panic, because he was with the minister day by day, hour by the hour. And he says this is just to accept that what is the greatest peace? To accept that every moment, everything can be changed. What is peace? Again, this emptiness. To accept it, that every moment, everything can change. This is peace. But the brain does not look for peace. The brain looks for control. Therefore, the brain, and this is common to all of us, always is trying what? To put frame around things. To declare, I know, I understand, I capture, there is order. People grow, this child is growing, this first or second grader is, let's move with him a bit, 13, 14, 15, 20. He still thinks my mom, my dad, but those are just concepts. What he calls mom and dad is basically an egg and a sperm. Which is a matter. What runs through those people is a software. Do you see where the conflict lies? It's simple, but for humans it's the same struggle all over the world. Questions, Fernando, sharing, Yanis, Abigail, Jill. Again, what is peace? To accept in every moment everything can change. This is peace. If you notice, peace is not something rigid. It is moving all the time, according to what is happening. And there's no panic or anxiety. Anxiety comes from the need to control. People usually have a lot of anxieties before tests. I was working in a university. It was the day the students were having in Israel, the students which are coming to university or have intention to go to university, they have to pass a test, a bar test. They call it psychometric test, psychometric. This is how they call it. Regardless of their final exams in high schools and what they do, they have to go through another bar. And this test, it takes 5, 6, 7 hours in one go. And it's a lot of pressure. And I was in the office, and then I just went to the, how do you say, to wash my hands, and they were using the same let's say lavatory, and they just collapsed on the floor. I just saw people collapsing on the floor, fainting, having the seizures. They could not accept that this is what is happening. They learn or they prepare for the test at least 1 year. Sometimes they take courses, they pay a lot of money just to have the ability to go through a preparing course that will prepare them for this long exam. And once the day is coming and they prepared for it 1 year, and in their mind all the future is sitting on this exam. And suddenly they don't stand in the pressure of not crossing the exam or not be able to sit 6, 7 hours on the seat without ability to move, to refresh, just to wash their hands, or to go to the toilet. Regardless, they cannot leave the space. It's a lot of pressure. And they want to have the outcome of, to get a good grade. They want to be accepted to the right university, to the branch they want to learn in their life. And it's a lot of coming into one spot, and then they collapse. So all the all those facilities, all those preschools, what do they come to do? They come to prepare their brain to process faster, to answer questions very fast in any language, in geometry, in mathematics, in linguistics, fast, fast, process fast, tackle it from the right, from the left. Da, 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 da. One thing they don't do, they don't prepare them to accept what is happening in the right moment. So people investing everything in a way in the wrong direction. So what can you do? You just happen to be there. So you're speaking to those students and tell them it's not the end of the world, but they're still shivering and they need medical help because they went too far in the rabbit hole. Even if you cross, if we go, and it doesn't matter now if it's an exam in the university or sometimes we have to go through procedures in life, standing in offices, anything can happen. Just to accept what there is. If people do not understand in the other side of the line or in the office what is the request, to accept that they don't understand, or it doesn't go the way, or it goes 120 degrees left or right, just to accept it. Because what brings the anxiety is that we don't accept what is happening. Questions? The eyes, that we count so much on our eyes as an organ to analyze, to name, to identify. The eyes are just bringing random images. And we count and we build everything on this information that the eyes are bringing. And the eyes are just what, once we were sharing this moment that researchers, they took a petri dish and they took few brain cells and tried to grow them on a petri dish. And the first thing that the brain cells did is to grow eyes. So the eyes is in a way extension of the brain. There is a direct relation. And this is what happens to all of us, we tend to believe to what the eyes are seeing. Yes? The information that the eyes are bringing. But the information that the eyes are bringing is only linear. And random. The information, if we could say, that comes from the eyes is like the information that comes from the arrow. Arrow. Yes? We look in the eyes and we see like round eyes. Yes? But the real thing is what comes, or what is being accepted as a picture, is just an arrow. If we could, like in cartoons, send two arrows out from the eyes, this is the information that the eyes are bringing. It's shorted and linear. The hearing brings different map. Yes, the eyes are open out to the world, And the ears are always open. They don't have a cover. Even when we sleep, the ears are open. It's a completely different sense. Therefore, the words of Jacob is listen, Israel, listen, listen. The listening will give us a sense of hollowness, of oneness. Our eyesight, let's say, is dependent on what? On the light. Yes, if there's a light, we are capable of seeing. The hearing is capable of broadcasting sounds regardless of there is a light or not. So hearing is not conditional. The soldiers, for instance, they have special binoculars or equipment to see at night. Animals they can see at night, predators. Human is not capable. Therefore, soldiers or hunters, they have special devices that are helping them to see at night. Because we are all of us are short-sighted. Our seeing is limited to light conditions, but not hearing. Hearing is never limited. Also, the eyes are located in the front, yes, and the ears are in the sides. Questions? Therefore, there is a beautiful notebook that Fernando mentioned, I think on Monday. Shamati, I heard. This notebook was written by Rabbi Baruch. He was a son and a student of another rabbi, sage if you want. And the notebook that he named Shamati was written from hearing. What does it mean? Usually in university or lectures, there's somebody who speaks, someone speaks, and people are taking notes while he is speaking, at the moment of speaking. Shamati is a different format of a notebook or a book. Later it became to be a book. Somebody hears something, like an idea, a lecture, a lesson. He doesn't write anything. After 1 or 2 days, he sits and writes a composition, an essay, a paragraph from what he had heard. It's a completely different impression. It is completely different impression. Therefore, this book, Shamati, I heard, notebook, is so rare. Because it counts on the hearing. And I would like to address another term that Fernando mentioned, the other side. It is very beautiful because when sage is speaking about certain things, depends on the culture, they have different terms, but they have similar understanding. And one of the terms that Fernando mentioned is the other side. The other side in Aramaic, it is called Sitra Achra. Sitra is like star or like street. The other street, the other way. So there is in Shamati, yes, in I Heard book, there is a term of oneness, and there's another term which is the other side. What is the other side? What is the other street or the Sitra Achra? It's not a Satan or something. It means basically multiplicity, duality, manifestation. This is what it means. So there is oneness, and the other side or the other street or the other road or the other way is the way of the many. I didn't mention to open it. I heard from you yesterday on Monday, and I connected, but I could not open it. Yes. So this is what it is, because when people see those words in Aramaic, they think about, how do you say, magical, how do you say, thinking, or like a spell. There is a spell, yes, spell or demons, or no. The other side, it means the way of the many. Multiplicity, the manifestation. This is what it means. This is why it is called the other side, Sitra Achra, from Acher. Acher. Acher is the other. Acher, I shall write it here. Acher. Aleph Chet Resh. Yes, when Resh is 200. And the only difference between one and the other, Acher, is the Daled, which is Echad. So Daled has a little drop on the right side, on the right, yes, that makes it one. And Acher, because Resh is also 200, is the duality. So whenever we see, and in the book of Zohar, we find many times the other side, the Sitra Achra, the devil, the evil, the dark forces of the universe, the magicians with beard, with broken teeth, with red ears. Yes, it's not about this. Because people coming with medieval, let's say, lens, and they think it's just, the other side of the forest, there is like spell and darkness and swamp and fog and smog. And yeah, it's not it. This is the imagination that was added to it through the years. Yes, because when people don't know, they walk in the dark, they add from the imagination all kinds of imagery, but it's not. The language is so, the Aramaic is so colorful language, and also, how do you say, not just colorful in the sound of it. It sounds so, I don't know, magical, like abracadabra. Yes, abracadabra. What does it mean? It sounds so, like in the forest, there is some kind of a sorcerer, they make magic, and so what is abracadabra? Evra kedibre. I shall create as I speak, or the speaking is creating, or via speaking there is creation. This is what it means. That it doesn't mean that there's a black magician behind the dark forest in the swamp and make, yes, all kinds of spells. Yes, but you find in many times when you open books that were written in medieval times, all kinds of whispering and like combinations of letters, and they tell you they will put a spell on you. There is a song like this, I put a spell on you, and it's just rubbish. It's just rubbish. So what Fernando was sharing is the term Sitra Acha, the other side. What does it mean? Multiplicity, the manifestation. This is what it means. And yes, this is the side of the body, or yes, very well, the side of the hardware. Yes, the hardware. Serpent, the concept. This is the Sitra Acha, the concept. I shall give you an offer that you can never refuse, can never reject. I shall make you a special offer, give you a special concept. And what is happiness? Happiness is not, in a way, a condition. Yes, this happiness is not pleasure. For pleasure or pain, we need conditions. Both pleasure or pain are the two sides of the manifestation. Opposite, but both of them are representing manifestation. Happiness is none of this. Someone can have a great pain, but still can be happy. It has nothing to do with happiness. Do we understand the relation between, first of all, before we speak about happiness or joy, do we understand the opposite of pain and pleasure? Do we understand the two? There are two sides of the same coin. Both of them are reflected in the manifestation. Either it's a good day, let's say, or it's a pleasant day. Yes, but it's manifestation, dark or light. Yes. But happiness does not come from the manifestation. It doesn't come from the conditions. Happiness comes from the infinite because there's space inside. Tragic events can happen around, but still there is happiness inside. Because at the moment we are not cleaving, holding, believing the tragic event. Just there's like connection to this emptiness of the infinite, and there's a great joy, even in tragic moments. Is it understood? And this is I think Fernando was sharing this on Monday from the article of Shamati. Any questions or sharing? Beautiful, because whenever you share paragraphs or ideas or questions or daily happening, it is always bring like a different angle, or it brings the light to what is happening, and it is always like comes round and beautiful. So I'm very happy for any share that you bring. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, we can. It doesn't come from conditions. Happiness is not a conditional. Happiness is not a conditional thing. Happiness is also not a thing. Yes, happiness is not a thing. Yes, Fernando, sometimes we can see someone in a tragic situation and somehow the person feels a moment of bliss. Yes, Yes, indeed. 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 Yes, Jill, would feeling peace among. Yes, yes. Feeling peace among chaos. Yes, be that. Yes. Yes, it has nothing to do with the momental chaos. Yes, this is it, Jill. Yes. Questions? Thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much for being with us today. Wishing you a very great week, beautiful season, and see you soon on Monday. Toda and shalom.